Now, European lawmakers have voted to refer the EU's free trade agreement with South America to the European Court of Justice. It means it would delay the Mercosur deal by 2 years and potentially even derail it. The agreement was signed just this past weekend. France had been a vocal critic of the deal. For more on this story, we can go across to France 24's Dave Keating standing by in Brussels. Dave, talk us through what exactly this means.
Well, this was a shock result. This vote passed by only 10 votes, and it could delay the application of this free trade agreement by 2 years. Now, this was introduced actually by far-left MEPs who say that the free trade agreement, because they say it would allow South American governments to override EU environment and climate laws, it goes against EU law. The Commission denies that that's the case. But what's interesting is that plenty of centrist MEPs have joined in on this revolt, including members of the parliament from the center-right. The big question is now whether the European Commission is going to go ahead and apply this free trade agreement provisionally while it waits the 2 years for that court ruling. I've been told by sources in the European Council that that is possible because of the way they have structured this, but no word yet from the European Commission behind me about whether they're actually going to do that. Just to step back here to say where we are in this process, you may recall that the European Council approved this free trade agreement in a vote just earlier this month. That's the upper house of the EU's legislature, made up of representatives of the national governments. But the free trade deal has not yet been approved by the lower house of the EU's legislature, the European Parliament. Nevertheless, President von der Leyen flew to Paraguay over the weekend and signed that deal, which made a lot of MEPs quite angry because the European Parliament had not yet given its assent.
And just yesterday, we had Ursula von der Leyen at Davos touting the Mercosur free trade agreement and saying that she was on her way to India in a couple of days to potentially sign a free trade agreement with India. This is clearly a setback for the European Union, as we don't know what is brewing with the United States.
Yeah, this is a huge blow. I mean, if you talk to people here in Brussels, this vote for Mercosur in the Council was basically the only bit of good news the EU has had for the past year. So people here are pretty devastated by this. But, you know, a lot of people were pointing out yesterday when President von der Leyen made that statement about a free trade deal with India, that she really sounds like she's coming from a previous era here, and that she's looking for solutions that might have been made sense a couple of years ago, but probably don't make sense in this new era. And I have to say, talking to a lot of people in the European Parliament, they were quite angered by President von der Leyen talking up a free trade deal with India yesterday. They said that she really didn't have this. For a lot of people, that came out of the blue, and that they just signed this Mercosur agreement, which plenty of people are pretty angry about. So I think the problem here is that Commission President von der Leyen views these free trade deals as the only way to hit back against Trump's aggression toward Europe. In fact, that's what she said to MEPs today in a last-ditch effort to try to get them not to vote for this, sending it to the court. She said that this free trade deal is urgently needed to guarantee the EU's independence. Presumably, she means, though she won't say it out loud, independence from the United States. So I think that a lot of MEPs, even if they might have liked the free trade deal before, it only took 5-10 of them to be angered by what von der Leyen said in Davos about trying to reach now a new free trade deal with India, to vote against this, to now majorly handicap this effort. So I think this is really about a miscommunication between von der Leyen and the directly elected MEPs and the citizens of Europe, who, even though they're scared by the new American aggression against Europe, free trade is still not very popular with the citizens of Europe.